Yeah, NBA Straya, how are you going? How you going? I hope you're right. You should be. What is that, Jim? Well, it's Monday, April 7, all day, but most importantly, we're into the final week of the NBA season. That's right. I'm your host, James Clements, here in Larry Elm Studios. We had a huge weekend for the Aussies. We'll talk about that in today's show. We've got the weekend winners and losers, 5 weekend winners, 5 weekend losers. Losers. We've got That's Not a Knife, Old Mate, No Mate, Spud of the Night, Better Than Lonzo, Ball, all the other good stuff. We've got some really good listening, yeah, Nas. Got the unpopular opinion of the day. Got a fun Outback Takehouse for you. Got the Australian Player Watch and Andrew Gay's Great MAMBA Award. It's just a chocker show. There's just a lot kind of to talk about. There's not much going on, but there's a lot to talk about, if you know what I mean. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Episode 1240 of NBA Straya. Oh, let's go.
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gay.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Darcy Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
Hi, this is Ryan Brockhoff.
This is Mitch Creek. This is Mick Kay.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening and watching NBA Straya.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
You better. Oh, man, you better watch out for the pretty chilled weekend attack. If you're me, I'll tell you what, good weekend. Hope everyone else was very chill. Watched a bit of hoops, hung out with the squids. Had a good old time. And now it's school holiday, so you better watch out for the attack of, I don't know, got to look after the oldest one while we ship the other one over to daycare every day. It's chaos. Anyway, let's start today's show with the daily. Oh, it's a whip around, is it, Jip? Yes. The Hall of Fame class was announced. We already mentioned that we had Melo and Dwight basically getting the nod, which is pretty interesting. Interesting cases. And I kind of feel like the Mitch Richmond line is like where we're at with the Hall of Fame. It's like, are you better than Mitch Richmond? Yes? Well, in you go. If you're not, too bad. They're both better than that. But anyway, we'll talk about this, close to the date. That's a really good off-season or like, I don't know, while there's not a million games to talk about kind of thing. But Sue Bird, Maya Moore, Sylvia Fowles, Billy Donovan, I assume for his work with the NCAA and not his fine-ish record in the NBA. Anyway, Mickey Harrison, owner of the Heat, and Danny Crawford, NBA ref. That's kind of fun, so sure. Other news, not a Johnny man over the weekend except for Jam and Jamal Murray, so he's out again. He set out today's game against the Pacers for the Nugs. They just look a little bit discombobulated. They look a bit weird. He missed, what was that? So that's 5 games straight he's missed. And Michael Malone, said, hopefully, Jamal will be back for the start of the playoffs. So he's dealing with a right hammy, which is always pretty brutal. And it's apparently not a matter of precaution. Like, Jamal's hurt, he said. It's not being careful. He's hurt. You're like, oh, sure. That checks out. Otherwise, the big sort of news from the weekend, if you're a Knicks fan, was that Jalen Brunson came back, which was pretty good. And they did an absolute number on the Phoenix Suns in the end. But it's good to see Jalen Brunson back out there. I'll talk about the Knicks in a second, but jeez, I'm all about it. Hey, let's do some very brief game wraps from the weekend. Game wraps. The games that mattered from the weekend. Phoenix got killed. That's right, they got straight killed.
He got straight killed.
By Boston, 123-103. Detroit beat Toronto to lock in a playoff game. Playoff seed, at least 5 or 6, which is cool. A playoff series. You made it. Good job. OKC lost to Houston. And then Houston also beat the Warriors. It was pretty gnarly. Dallas lost twice to the Clippers. Pretty crazy gear there. The Warriors stomped Denver 118-104. Back on Saturday as well. Milwaukee, it's Algonquin for the good land for a minute. They beat Miami and then turned around and also just snuck by the Pelicans today, 111-109. 107. Outside of that, the Suns then also went and lost to the Knicks today, 112-98, as a sort of like hit on. And the Suns are just, oof. And the final one was that Cleveland, that's right. Cleveland! Dropped an absolute Barry Crocker shocker to the Sacramento Kings because of the refs. Also because of their, screwing around, but still. Zach LaVine had a big bucket there as the shot clock had already expired. So great job by the refs there. You had one job. You cooked it. Anyway, let's do some weekend winners and losers out of all this morass because basically heading into the final week of the season, so many of these games have been hit and miss. It is absolutely chaos. So I'll talk about that in a second, but damn, there's still a lot to play for. So let's do weekend winners and losers.
Oh my God. I won! Recapping our day's top story, the winner of today's state lottery is me.
Cam Brockman. There you go. That's right. Weekend winners, the Detroit Basketball Pistons. As I sort of hit on, they're in the playoffs. That's awesome. The first time since 2018-19. Blake Griffin era Pistons. Wow. What a world. The coolest part was they clinched it with a Dwayne Casey Bowl win, i.e. over Toronto. But more importantly, this Detroit Basketball Pistons team became the single first team to go from winning 14 games to making the playoffs the next year. Seriously, they had the worst record in the NBA last year, and now they're in the playoffs. That is a first. From winning 14 games to making the playoffs. That is huge. I'm stoked. I love this Pistons team. I yell about them all the time. That is unreal. Great job. JB Bickerstaff. Who would have thought that every time you fire Monty Williams, your team gets better? Incredible. It's kind of how it not really worked in Phoenix and New Orleans, but still. Anyway, Detroit, love that for them. They had a bit of a rough one eventually against Memphis, but they played a back-to-back on the weekend, but you get that on the big jobs. Lock away that playoff spot. Houston. Now, that is a good weekend because the Houston Rockets just went out and belted Golden State again. Really just manhandled them. And that came after they absolutely manhandled the Oklahoma City Thunder on the weekend. They beat them 125-111. Then they turned around and beat the Warriors 106-96. And it was awesome. They were so good. The Rockets rule. They're 52-27 now. They are basically locked away into that 2 seed. Because with that win, well, they are locked in essentially now because they're 3.5 games up on the Lakers out of the 3 spot. So, way to go, Houston. That is unreal. A 2 seed in the West in this absolute bloody I don't know, you think about the way this West Conference this year is set up, an absolute death gauntlet. Time after time. Doesn't matter who you're playing. And they've just taken on all comers. They've won 52 games. They look unreal. And we'll talk about all this in a second. But great job, Houston. You're the 2 seed. The LA Clippers are also weekend winners because they smashed Dallas twice on the weekend. But remember on Friday where we're talking about the 10 things to look out for the final 10 days. We're now into the final week. And this is one of them. The Clippers kicking ass and taking names. They are now up to 46-32. And in the 5 seed, they've won 4 on the trot. They look unreal. But the biggest thing for them was on the weekend, your mate, Kawhi Leonard, played back-to-back games. They won both of them. They're 12-2 in their last 14 games with Kawhi, which is absolutely chaos. And the way they absolutely dismantled Dallas twice at home, was wildly indicative of how afraid you should be of them, I think, in the playoffs. The thing is, they've timed this run perfectly. Kawhi looks super healthy. He looks awesome. He's doing all sorts of things. He's waving towels when Patty Mills is hitting threes like he did on the weekend. Love that. But if they can keep moving up, nobody wants to play that team. They're only 2 games behind the Lakers now. And they've got 4 games to play. So if they can sneak ahead of the Nuggets and get home court in the 4-5 spot, who knows? The Clippers are going to be loving that weekend. Same goes for the Lakers because this morning they beat Oklahoma City. And when I say beat, I mean shit pumped. They fucking absolutely straight killed him.
He got straight killed.
It was crazy, 126-99, which also puts Oklahoma City's point differential record in jeopardy. So keep an eye on that. We'll talk about that in a second. Either way, so it's a big thing for OKC, but for the Lakers, more than anything, it sort of gave them a sense of, oh yeah, we're radical. Like they kicked the shit out of the Pelicans the day before. That's fine. That came after that crazy Warriors-Lakers game last week. And the Lakers needed this sort of win, right? Like a big win over a legitimate contender. And the Lakers now sit third overall in the standings. And that is pretty bloody crucial when the West is just this tight, which we'll get to in a second. But 3-6 at the moment would be against the Warriors, which is hilarious. But there is so much more to change because every team from the 4 seed through to the 8 seed is on 32 losses. So I think a little bit might change. But the Lakers, with that win, gave themselves just a little bit of breathing room, right? They're 1.5 games up in the 3 spot with only 4 games remaining. They should be okay, right? Maybe. And when you think about who they played Oklahoma City already. They play them again on Wednesday. Then they have Dallas, Houston, Portland. It's going to be a tough run from the Lakers. So getting one of those wins over Oklahoma City today was very, very important. So well done to them. And then the final one, Sacramento, because this kind of leads into the honorable mention. The Kings got a huge win over Cleveland today. That's right. Cleveland! After stomping Charlotte, as you'd expect. But for the Kings, that's basically salting away a playoff spot, right? They're up in the 9 spot at the moment because the Mavericks are horrible. And with that in mind, they're like a half game up on Dallas for the 9 spot. You get home court in the play-in knockout, you got to be laughing, right? But that huge win over Charlotte is like, hey, they got a bit of luck going their way once. That's good. Good job, Sacramento. But they're 38-40 versus the 38-41 for the Mavs. And just having one less loss is huge. So great job. But that sort of leads in, like, that's a great, great weekend for Sacramento to essentially kind of lock away a bit of a playoff spot. And honorable mention's got to go to the Pacers and the Bucks. They're both won 4 on the trot. In like essentially the Bucks putting a hint of space between them and Detroit in the 5-6. The Pacers, basically the way they dealt with Denver today was really, really impressive. And the Bucks just did enough without Giannis today against the Pelicans to get the win. So they've both won 4 on the trot. And that 4-5 spot is looking very, very, very interesting for the first round of the East playoffs. But the honorable mention really is us. We're weekend winners because this last week of the NBA season before we have the cacophonic finale. Just try saying that fast. The cacophonic finale of this NBA season. When we finish up next week on, I believe it's our Monday morning from 3 a.m. Every game basically starts at the same time out east. And then out west, they all start at the same time as well. So 3 a.m. and 5:30 next Monday is going to be gnarly. And there are so many questions still to be answered, probably on that day. You have games between Orlando and Atlanta. You've even got the likes of Indy versus Cleveland. You've got Milwaukee versus Detroit, which could decide the 5-6, which is absolutely crazy. And as I mentioned the other day, you've got Miami against Washington for that sort of the 7 through 10. After Atlanta play earlier that day. And then you go out west, you've still got Denver versus Houston. You've got Dallas at Memphis. You've got Minnesota playing against Utah. We've got OKC Pelicans. You've got Toronto San Antonio, just in a random bizarre game that doesn't matter. Clippers Golden State, though, is an absolute belter, and so is Phoenix Sacramento. And wow, we're going to have so much fun. Like the East battle between 5 and 6, between Detroit and Milwaukee is massive. And then 7, 8, 9, 10, which at the moment is Orlando, Atlanta, Chicago, Miami. 3 games separate all 4 of those teams. That is chaos. And then out west, as I mentioned, like it is just an absolute death gauntlet where every team 4 through 8 has 32 losses. So there is a half game separating 4 through 8 in the west. It is nuts. So yeah, this last week's going to rock. Hey, let's do some losers, shall we, from the weekend? Oh no.
We're not losers. No, you two are winners. Big winners. When I grow up, I want to marry a big winner like you guys. Shut up.
Losers.
Loser.
Losers. Oklahoma City Thunder. They're 64-14, Jim. Yeah, but they lost 2 on the trot over the weekend to sort of other fellow contenders, right? And SGA, in probably the weirdest aspect of this season, copped 0 free throw attempts today. And in a stunning turn of events, the Thunder lost by 27. So, but it also really just sort of shone a light on the Thunder and going, hey, it's SGA. If you sort of just make him slightly less efficient, you're like, oh, well, how do we shut down Chet Holmgren and J-Dub? J-Dub was horrible today, sure. 4 of 14, he had 16 points. Chet didn't do too much either. Yeah, he was in a bit of foul trouble there too. And it just shines a bit of a light on their sort of, I don't know, consistent secondary scoring options. J-Dub's probably it. If he's healthy, you're kind of okay. You're feeling okay about Chet. But it writes a big question mark next to that team. And we're going to ride that into the playoffs. And until they like either win the title or lose wherever, this will be the question that's asked. Do they have like a reliable secondary option? Will these threes shot by like Isaiah Joe and Caruso and Kenrick Williams and Case and Wallace, will that continue in the... That is going to be the question. And it just sort of hangs over their head until they prove it. So, bit of a tough one. But also, as I mentioned, the scoring differential record is still up for grabs here for the Thunder. They lose by, 26-27 today. They have to outscore their final 4 opponents across the rest of this season by 25 to break the Lakers record from, 1972. So, there's a lot on the line for this Thunder team. Can they do it? That'd be crazy. And if the Cavs lose again, the Cavs lost again, I think, and they've dropped out of the top 10 all-time for the first time since back in December. And the Celtics, because their massive win the other day, they won by 34. They're back in the top 20 all-time. So these 3 teams, in terms of scoring differential all-time in NBA history, they're still a little bit up for grabs here. So keep an eye on those 3. But a tough one for the Thunder because, losing by that much put a bit of a dent in it. Just saying. All right, other losers, Dallas, obviously. I sort of hit on this last week. The Anthony Davis game winner last week. You're like, oh, that's a bit of a nice little salve for the hurt Mavs fans' feelings. And it did not last. They lose that game in Brooklyn. They get absolutely curb stomped by the Clippers over the weekend. And Anthony Davis, and this is my big point, Anthony Davis is like grabbing his knee. He's grabbing his side every time he does anything. You're like, that's probably not good. Maybe you shouldn't trade a 25-year-old MVP candidate for him. I don't know. I'm just some dude. Not a shoe salesman. Anyway, but the Kings going on a bit of a run is hilarious because now Dallas are in the 10 seed and it just sucks. That's a tough weekend. Speaking of tough weekends, Phoenix, 6 straight losses. Never really in it. It felt like against the Knicks. Brad Beal was horrible. They got smoked by Boston. They're now, 2.5 games back? Like, that is basically them dead. Like, they just got straight killed out of the thing, right? That's just what happens sometimes.
So he got straight killed.
Yep, 2.5 games back at Dallas out of the 10 spot. And don't like their chances, just saying. Because you think about the remaining schedules for both those teams. Phoenix play Golden State, OKC, San Antonio, and Sacramento. Brutal. Dallas still plays the Lakers, Toronto, and Memphis. Yeesh. I feel like Dallas is probably okay. Especially with the lead and only 3 games to play. Anyway. The other weekend losers, I mean, it's hard to sort of go past, like, the Nugs. They've lost 4 on the trot. And Rusty Westbrook, I don't know, like, Jokic they just had a horrible fourth quarter today against the Pacers. Jokic missing a pass to Rusty. You're like, I want to blame Rusty, but that was a bad pass by Jokic. It's just weird how discombobulated and unorganized they look in the clutch at the moment without Jamal. But yeah, 4 straight losses. They're in real danger, this Nuggets team, at 47-32 of dropping out of the actual locked away top 6 playoff spots. As I said, everybody's on 32 losses from 4 through 8. They've only got one more win than like the Grizzlies, then the Wolves, then the Warriors, and then the Clippers. And then the Nugs, having lost these 4 straight games, including a couple at home here, right? They play Sacramento up next, then Memphis, then Houston. None of those 3 games are gimmies. So it's going to get very squirrely. So it's a tough weekend. Denver had that game. They had this huge Jokic game, 41, 15, and 13. It's just silly. And they wasted it. So, yeah. And then the final weekend losers is anybody who's keen on good basketball because, wow, this has been a fucking slog to the end of this season where we've had a huge gap between the best basketball on display throughout March and into April. And then the shit basketball, like the good basketball and the shit basketball, I don't know if it's been wider in the last 6 weeks than we've seen in the last 6 weeks. Like some of these games, they're just rolling out G League teams. You're like, this fucking sucks. And then you get absolute crackers like Warriors Rockets was today. Even Denver Indy was really fun. But there's so many sort of walking wounded teams and teams that are just not trying that it's a bit ridiculous. And then finally, the other weekend winner is the Florida Gators. And our man, Alex Condon. That's right, the honorable mention standalone. We got another Aussie in the NCAA Championship Game, which is absolutely sick. We almost had 2, Tyrese Proctor, but Duke completely screwed it. That was absolutely abysmal. I don't know how much NCAA Straya. It was shocking gear from Duke against Houston. Just saying. I was watching with the squids and they're just like, Dad, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. This is hilarious though. Sucked in, Duke. Anyway, I hate Duke. It's just FYI. I just can't stand him. Cooper Flag looks awesome, but let's go Gators. All right. How about we do a bit of an NBA Australia approved performance on the weekend?
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Now, I'll tell you what, we had a couple of absolute cracking performances today where you had the Nikola Jokic 41, 13, and 15 in a loss. But Kobe White, 37, 5, and 2. He was unreal. Devin Booker had 40 in the loss. OG Anunoby. This is like one of the sort of weird undercurrents of the Jalen Brunson injury is that the Knicks have sort of like managed to like ride it pretty handily. But not having Jalen Brunson somehow turned OG Anunoby into the greatest basketball player who ever lived. He's been so good. It's been unreal. Great job, OG. Outside of that, though, you've got Zach LaVine with the 37 and a big win today as well. I'll talk about Keontae George in a second. Over the weekend, outside of that, Desmond Bane at 38 and the big win for the Grizzlies over the Detroit Pistons. I didn't mention them in the winners, but for them to beat Detroit in Detroit was pretty massive because Detroit are playing really well and Memphis need to keep winning to like not get stuck in the 8th seed. So good job by them. 36, 15, and 10 for Giannis yesterday as well and a big win over Miami in overtime. That was a great game by him. Cat had 30 and 11 as well. And then if you go all the way back to Saturday, Denny Avdija, my beloved Denny Avdija, 37, 11, and 5 in a crazy game against Chicago where our man Josh Giddey threw in an awesome triple-double where he had 19 rebounds, 12 assists, and 15 points. Didn't shoot it great, 4 of 13, but an insane triple-double where he's just going, nah, check it out, boys, I'm the best. And then probably my favorite, Zoobs, out of nowhere, 11 of 11. Perfect. He goes from the field, 25 and 10 and a big win over Dallas. Great job by Zoobs. Righto, how about a bit of a spud of the night? Spud, 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 it is spud of the night. Spud of the night. 0 of 7 for Brad Beal today. He looked like a bloke who just doesn't play basketball anymore. Blake Wesley also went 0 of 7. 0 of 6 for Colin Gillespie, old Dizzy. Jaden McDaniels also 0 of 6. 1 of 8 over the weekend for Malik Monk, Jalen Wells, not to be confused with Jalen Clark, Pele Larson as well. 1 of 11 for Cowden Johnson and Spencer Dinwiddie. If you wanted to look at why Dallas lost those Clippers games, it's like, hey, did Spencer Dinwiddie suck? It's like, yes, he did. 3 of 12 for Miles Bridges, Nick Smith Jr., 3 of 13 for Bryce Sensabaugh, 3 of 15 for Carl Filipowski, and 4 of 16 for Malik Beasley. But, of course, who went and shot the magic number over the weekend, Jim? I would like to thank Jamal Shed and Donovan Clingan, as well as Malik Beasley from 3 for shooting. Woo! Yeah! Chill! Yeah, they Kelly went and shot 311. Yabiote. Thank you, gentlemen. Who's old mate, no mates, though?
Old mate, no mates.
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 Who's got no mates today? I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander not getting any free throws against the Lakers was pretty funny because he's only shot one free throw in the last 2 games, right? But it's been 1,205 days since SJ last had a 0 free throw attempt game. He's like, oh, can't refs give us a hand? They're like, nah, mate. Nah, I can't help you. Old mate, no mates. You got no mates here, mate. No mates. Seriously, no mates here, SGA, mate. I loved it as well because it's like, yeah, I think the foul baiting, the foul hunting shit for SGA is quite overblown. I don't feel like he's quite flopping as much as like prime James Harden, etc. But at the same time, it is a big part of his game. Most of it's legit, but then some of it's a bit ticky-tacky. And if the refs are going to go, fuck that, yeah, SGA is going to have a bit of a fucking rough time in the playoffs. A day of that much. Old mate, no mates. And then, of course, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland! I love it when the refs come out and go, yep, we fucked up. Well, we made a mistake, says Courtney Kirtland. During live action, we thought Levine released the ball prior to the expiration of the shot clock. If we were going to review, we would have to review it before the ball was legally touched on the floor during the throw-in, right after the made basket. Well, then fucking do it. You're the refs. That's quite literally your job. The refs took 3 free throws off the Cavs right after this as well on a missed out-of-bounds call. So it was an absolute all-time kick in the dick for the Cavs. But the cool thing was, Kenny Atkinson's like, you fucking win some, you lose some. It's pretty cool to be able to say that when you're locked into the 1 seed in the East. I'm just saying. So, but the Cavs, we don't get no respect. We don't get no respect around here. Come on. Pantsing of the night, though, of the weekend. Oh, jeez. Again, a bit of NCAA Straya. What was it, Elijah Martin? Holy fucking shit, that dunk at the end of that game. But Domantas Sabonis today got Jarrett Allen. Oh, boy, he got him big. We had a good Shaedon Sharp dunk on the weekend too. But god damn, Domantas Sabonis on the Souvlaki King against Go the Fro Jarrett Allen. That was just disrespectful. It's just, I don't know how much more of this I could take.
I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I just don't know.
All right, how about Benny LeBronny James?
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average.
Coming for everybody, Keontae George. Up and down year. I haven't really mentioned him too much this year. I think I had him in fantasy. And you're sort of waiting for the second year breakout a little bit, but the inefficiency sort of killed you all year. So in fantasy, you can just go, might have to get rid of him despite the pretty solid numbers. He's the second leading second-year scorer this year, right? So he had a career-high 35 points today against the Atlanta Hawks. He went 10 of 19, 7 of 13 from downtown. And like this is the thing to sort of keep an eye on at this point of the season, right? It's like, who are those guys going into next season that you're like, watch out for that one? Keontae George. He's been pretty good. And the other one goes to Jonathan Mogbo out there in Toronto. He's been awesome. He had 17 and 11 with 7 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals on 8 of 9 shooting against the Nets. So not bad. That was a very, 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 very good weekend for Mogbo. All right, what about everyone's favorite? You know it. I know it. It's the magic tweet of the weekend. I love this. Congratulations to Danny Crawford on his induction. What made Danny great, one of the best referees ever, was his ability to communicate well with the players and coaches. Players like Danny because he was always consistent with his calls. Thanks, Magic. How about congratulations to the entire 2025 Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame class, the 2008 Olympic men's basketball team. Carmelo Anthony, Danny Crawford, Billy Donovan, Mark Few, Dwight Howard, Marquise Johnson, Jerry Welsh, Buck Williams, Jennifer Azzi, Sylvie Fowles, Maya Moore, Molly Boland, Dusan Ivkovic, and Mickey Harrison and Tal Brody. Clap, clap, clap emoji. Wow, that's the entire PR release. Thanks, Magic. I loved it. So good. And finally, dickhead of the weekend. Dickhead of the Week! In a surprise twist, the Draymond Green Memorial Award for Dickhead of the Weekend goes to Draymond Green, who elbowed LP Şengün in the fucking head, gets a technical, and claps right in the fucking face of the ref. And he mocks Şengün after that as well, and somehow does not get fucking tossed out of this game. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it's fucking bullshit. With the bullshit that we see get called for tech fouls this year and the last couple of years, how Draymond can get away with the absolute fuckery that he does is beyond the pale. He's literally clapping right in the fucking ref's face. That's automatically gone. You've just gotten a foul. That's another one. Piss off, dickhead. And the ref's like, no, I'm just a little bit afraid of Draymond. He might talk about me on my podcast. Fuck off, idiots. Anyway, Draymond, dickhead of the weekend. All right, let's do some NRs right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Giddey.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And
you're listening to NBA
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
All right, let's do some yeah-nahs. Got a couple of good listener ones. Weaves wrote in. G'day, Weaves. Josh Giddey is becoming the prince who was promised that Ben Simmons never was. A triple-double threat every time he steps on the court and a big-time player who can be a team leader for a franchise. Yes. I love this. I absolutely love this. It was actually something I talked out on the Basketball Fix podcast with Higo the other day about how Giddey probably could go down as our best ever NBA player because he's fucking 22. As I've mentioned before, right? There's 15 players out of the top 100 prospects for this draft that he's the same age as. And he's out there putting up triple doubles every time he almost steps on the court in the NBA, leading a team, being awesome, working on his fucking game. There's an interesting one there, isn't there, Ben Simmons? But the thing is, Ben Simmons, 3-time All-Star, All-NBA defensive team guy. Like, we can't just shit on Ben Simmons' accolades just because he's now a fucking shell of himself. But at the same time, Giddey is exactly living up to the hype. He is living up to the Ben Simmons hype in ways that Simmons never hoped to. Simmons never worked on his fucking jump shot. Josh Giddey very fucking clearly has. He's knocking in threes at an amazing rate now. He's hitting his free throws. Ben Simmons is afraid to fucking shoot, let alone shoot free throws. He hasn't taken a free throw in his last 12 games, Ben Simmons. Not a single one. He's a shell of himself, a shell of a man. It's all in his noggin, and he's never worked on his fucking game. Josh Giddey already has. So, yeah, he is the prince that was promised in Ben Simmons. And we just had to wait. It's like Game of Thrones, man. Like the prince that was promised, it was not this one, it's this one over here. Look at that. Hey, bit of bait and switch. And we all fell for it. Weaves also goes on to add, corollary to the OKC might actually live to regret letting him go so easily for Caruso. I'm still probably going to say nah. This is another one that I hit on with Higo on Basketball Fix. Giddey would not be doing this on OKC. You've got SGA and Giddey. Their games obviously don't quite mesh quite as well as Kobe White and Josh Giddey's. SGA needs that little bit more of control. They were never just going to go, step aside MVP candidate. Let's give it to Josh Giddey and let him run the show. And so OKC kind of going to look at this in pretty much the same way they looked at the Harden trade. I think the Harden trade was worse than the Giddey trade, where Harden probably still could have bloomed into an awesome ball handler, MVP candidate next to Rusty and KD on those Thunder teams. But at the time, he was sort of jammed into this Manu Ginobili role off the bench. They eventually would have gotten around to starting him, and he probably would have been really good. But again, he wouldn't have hit those MVP levels on the Thunder. But he still would have been really fucking handy, I think, next to Rusty and KD, because he's one of the greatest scorers of all fucking time. So I don't think they were going to regret it as much as the Harden trade, because I don't think Giddey would have been doing this on the Thunder. It just wouldn't have worked that way. You saw his role change dramatically last year. Here we are. Caruso will hopefully have some moments for them in the playoffs. You better hope so if you're a Thunder fan, but geez. Yeah, I don't think they'll regret it too much. And Brett P. Yeah, nah, Carmelo making it into the Hall of Fame and being named in the top 75 team for that matter is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, nah. I can't say yeah. I got to say nah. Look, it's basically because if you think about the all-time scoring list, you know, it's just he scored a lot of points, right? All time, he's been amazing. Carmelo. He's currently 12th all-time in scoring, which is just, yeah, that's Hall of Fame material. I already sort of dunked on this last week, how it's like, and he made like one Western Conference Finals. But he did help define an era. And when you see those Knicks pictures of Carmelo Anthony, like the Melo in the Knicks jersey, like that in my brain is still an amazing time in basketball. To be honest, so was him in a Denver jersey. But if you look at him all time, I think he's 10th all time out of the NBA and he's 12th all time in NBA, ABA combined. 28,000 points is not fucking round. So he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But I do wish we had Tears in the Hall of Fame. It's like, it was fucking good, but he never won anything. Like, we just sort of need that to be acknowledged. Because I think winning is a pretty fucking big, important part of the entirety of basketball. Rings culture is out of control, but also Melo went to one fucking Western Conference Finals. Like, what are we doing here? It's a bit nuts. As the main dude, right? Yeah. Anyway. How about a bit of an unpopular opinion today, if we're going to stick on that?
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Look at me, look at me, look at me. So the Knicks have won 50-plus games in back-to-back seasons for the first time since 94-95. That's fucking cool. And the unpopular opinion of the day is, I think that's pretty awesome. So I just talked about Melo and how he's like, mate, yeah, yes, he deserves to be a Hall of Famer. Just the sheer volume of points and games that he played, years that he played, 28,000, no fucking round. At the same time, it is a wild indictment that they never won 50 fucking plus games in his tenure there as the Knicks, with the Knicks. And I think there's value in this. Because you think about the 94-95 Knicks, and you think about what those teams meant to New York and to like Knicks fans forever and ever and ever. That shit is just etched in their brain. If they make a conference finals this year, if they somehow get out of that second round in the 3 spot, they'd have to beat Boston. But if they take Boston right to the fucking edge, go 7 games, people are going to love this team. I think they already do. Jalen Brunson is fucking beloved. Karl Anthony Towns, maybe not so much, but they love Mikal Bridges. They love Josh Hart. So let's see. But I love it. And I think there's value in back-to-back 50-plus win seasons. For a team like the Knicks, this shit will just like be etched into like generations of Knicks fans' fucking memories. Those Tibbs, Bronson teams, if they have an awesome playoff series this year, and they can build from that. But also, I'm just saying, how about a quick Outback Takehouse? It's Monday at Outback, and you know what that means? Well, yeah, I'll tell you what. It was a big weekend, and a possum managed to walk into the backyard just while the squids were out there with their cricket bats. And bang, did they take care of that, I'll tell you what. So, bloody nice prime possum rib only at Outback. And today's Flame Grill take is Celtics-Lakers finals. Book it. Absolutely no way will Adam Silver let Luka and LeBron not make the finals this year against the Celtics. After they saw what the Lakers did to OKC, they're locking that in. Only at Outback. All right, we'll be back with a quick Australian Player Watch right after this.
This is Shane Heal, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, time for the Australian Player Watch. What a weekend it was. We had Josh Giddey absolutely carving it up against Portland with that 15-19 rebound, a record for Chicago, which is awesome. 12 assist game. He did shoot 4 of 13 in that game. But 7 of 9 from the free throw line. And that's kind of what I mentioned about the Ben Simmons corollary. Like, he's worked on his free throws. He's worked on his shooting. He's put in the time. He's fucking... I understand that he's also pretty, like, you know, happy to be in front of cameras and take photos. But he's not out there fucking putting out, like, off-season workout videos. He's actually working on his game. It's a little bit more impressive, I'm just fucking saying. And then against Charlotte today, he had another 23 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, shot 7 of 13 from the floor and 7 of 8 from the free throw line. Only went 2 of 6 from 3, but still you get that on the big jobs. Not in that game was our man Josh Scott Green as well. He hasn't played the last couple of games for Charlotte after hurting his shoulder last week. I predicted that they'd probably shut him down, and that's looking like what has happened. All right, speaking of Box Hill, Ben Simmons. In those 2 games against Dallas, Benny only played 1 of them. It's going to be pretty dire when Kawhi Leonard is playing back-to-backs before you are. Just saying. He had 2 points, 3 assists, 1 on 1 from the from the floor, because that's right, he hasn't taken a free throw in 12 plus games. So in that Sunday game, it was the 2 points, 3 assists. But Patty Mills played in both against Dallas, which is very cool. He played 8 minutes on Saturday. He went for 3 points and 1 foul, 1 or 2 from the 3-point line, and then 7 minutes on Sunday. He scored 5 points, 2 or 4 from the floor, 1 of 2 from downtown, with 1 rebound and 1 assist, and prompted Kawhi to basically mimic his towel waving action when Kawhi hit that sick 3 last week, and Patty was captured waving his towel. So I love it. Patty Mills is even making Kawhi Leonard, notorious fucking motionless robot, act like a human being. That's how great of a legend Patty Mills is. Love that. Dyson Daniels, big weekend for him. In the loss to the Knickerbockers, he had 12 points on 5 of 8, shooting 1 or 2 from downtown, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, and 2 more steals. And the win over Utah today filled it up, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 more steals, bringing his total to 222 steals for the year, which we'll talk about in a second. Johnny Furphy in that win over Utah as well for the Pacers. He had 3 minutes. He had 2 points and 1 block. The 2 points came from 2 shots at the free throw line. He hit both. And the win over Dallas, not over Dallas. Who'd they play? Denver. That's right. He had 4 rebounds and 1 assist in 7 minutes, but went 0 of 2 from the floor. No games for Jingling Joe Ingles over the weekend. A couple of did not play coaches' decisions. Well, 1 again for the Wolves. Rock'em Sock'em Block'em Jock'em Landau did the exact same with the Warriors. Didn't play in either of their Rockets wins over the Warriors and the Thunder. Bit of a tough one, but you get that on the big jobs. Luke Travers didn't get out there for the Cavs. Duop is out with a knee complaint at the moment for the Blazers, but Matisse, Aussie Matty T, has started the last couple of games. He started against Chicago and Josh Giddey. He had 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. Not bad. Shot 3 of 8. Not great. 1 of 3 from the floor. 1 of 3 from downtown. 6, 4, and 2 and a steal against San Antonio today. He had 21 more minutes as a starter as well. 2 of 4 from downtown in that one. And that is all the Aussies that were actually out there. No Taron Armstrong, no Alex Dukas, no Jack McVeigh over the weekend. But with all this in mind, let's go to an Andrew Gaze Graham Mumber Award where we've got a couple of Aussies because it's pretty impressive. Let's do the bloody thing. It's time for the Andrew Gaze Graham Mumber Award for Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence.
It's the first Andrew Gaze Graham Mumber.
Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence. Let's do it. Josh Giddey. I already talked about that awesome triple-double, the 19 rebounds, absolutely hammer and tongs. I think it's a record for a Bulls guard, which is very cool. But I think I posted this one on the socials earlier today. But since the All-Star break, there are 2 players in the NBA averaging over 20 points a game, over 10 rebounds a game, and over 9 assists a game. They are Josh Giddey and 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic. That's insane. So Gids is averaging 20.8 points a game, 9.2 assists, 10.4 rebounds. Absolutely absurd. He's shooting 49.4% from the floor, 45.3% from 3. Love that. Jokic is putting up 30.5 points a game, 13.3 rebounds, and 10.2 assists, and carving it up. But wow. That is unreal. I'm just saying, if you're averaging a 20, 10, and 9 for that stretch of time, That's 18 games. And they've gone 11-7 in those games. Have the Bulls. Put the ball in his hand. Do your damn thing. And then, of course, finally, Dyson Daniels. You want some excellence? How about 222 steals? That is the most since Allen Iverson was out there causing all sorts of havoc back in 2002, 2003. And he's only, 225 AI had. So that would make, if he gets 3 more for the rest of the season, he'll go past AI and have the most steals since Gary Payton in 95, 96. Absolutely sick. So, if you go back and think about who won the 95-96 Defensive Player of the Year, oh, that's right, it was Gary Payton! Because he had 1 million bloody steals. Ahead of Scottie Pippen and Dikembe Mutombo, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Michael Jordan. That's a hell of a list. And Dyson Daniels is basically having the best season of any guard since then. Give me Defensive Player of the Year, I'm telling you. Let's go. All right, good stuff, Dyson. That is some excellence. And Gids, 2010-9 since All-Star. It's him and Jokic. That is some NBA Australia. Andrew Gaze, Graham Mumber Award. Outstanding achievement in the field of excellence. All right, what about a bit of a Patty Mills Game Day Baller Game Day Twitter check-in? Let's have a look. What's Patty been up to? Oh, there's a Dyson update. Oh, yeah, he's just big-upping his mate Trae Young. That's good. Love that. All right, what about Patty? I thought he did something the other day. Maybe not. I might have already watched the story. It's gone. But either way, the Dyson one's good. The Hawks one is good because they keep pumping up Dyson, which is fun. There we go. An awesome, sick dunk. Bit of a bounce to himself. Gives the big arm muscle emoji. Love that. Love this for Dyson. All right. How about a bit of a game previews for tomorrow? Because I'll tell you what. There's only 2. Let's do it. Game previews. Game previews. Thanks to Inverton Bain. Not a problem, Jim. How was the weekend? Bloody good. Start of the school holidays. But on Friday, old mate and I went out for a bit of a date night for the first time in about 1,000,000 years. Went to an awesome Lebanese restaurant out in Thornbury. Kicked ass. God, it was good. Then went to a gig at Shot Kickers. Had a great time. Watched a lot of footy. Watched a lot of basketball. No free ads, but how good is having the ESPN stuff on Disney? Just saying, it rocks. Anyway, you can follow all of our picks over at Dabble, of course. So jump on there, use the link in the show description, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be in your podcast app, or on Facey IG stories, or on the Twitter. You know, we've got a link underneath it. Bang in that code NBA Straya. Follow and copy the picks. Go absolutely hammer and tongs. We're cracking along at over 61% now for the season. We're crushing it. Just saying. It's going very well. So if that's your thing, jump on Dabble. Sign up using the link in our show description. Tell them NBA Australia sent you. Use that code NBA Australia. Follow, copy, go nuts. We've only got 2 games tomorrow because, remember, the NBA is afraid of college basketball. That's right. You've got the championship game tomorrow. So Sacramento at Detroit and Philly at Miami are both at, I think, 9 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. So they'll be done before the games in San Antonio. So Sacramento in Detroit. The Kings are 6.5-point underdogs after a big win, but it is a back-to-back for them, having just played Cleveland. I still kind of want to take the Kings. I feel like Suva in the middle. I think this will be a bit of a shootout. The Pistons defense can sometimes get a little bit sideways, and so can the Kings. So in a shootout, I might just take the Kings plus 6.5. Even on a back-to-back, I feel okay about that. And then in the other one, we've got Sixers Heat. And the Sixers, talk about teams that are absolutely just brutally gross to watch. They are 14.5-point underdogs. Are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers. The interesting thing is the Sixers randomly put up a good fight against the Wolves the other day. Only lost by 5. They lost by 13 to the Bucks. They lost by 14 to the Knicks. Against the Heat, I don't mind their chances in Miami to put up a little bit of a fight. Plus 14.5. So we might go the 2 underdogs tomorrow for the NCAA title game day. We'll go the underdogs. Plus 6.5 for the Kings. Plus 14.5 for Philly. Philly do have a little bit of scoring still. You got Q Grimes out there causing all sorts of havoc. The Heat, still pretty good. They did a good job the other day putting up a fight against Milwaukee, but they lost. I don't know, the Heat are way better, but Philly, there's a bit of fight there, so let's go the Sixers. We'll go a couple underdogs for you Tuesday. And with that in mind, we'll do a very, very brief show tomorrow later on, because I've got the squid, he and I hanging out, and, you know, it's school holidays, so I might not even do a show tomorrow. We'll find out. But either way, that's it for today. Remember to go to Dabble, follow along with those picks, all the picks we have, same game multis, all the mega multis, etc. that we do. So go check that out. Use that code NBA Straya if that's your thing. If not, it's all good. Appreciate you. Right, that'll do it for today. We're on deck, as mentioned, maybe tomorrow. So with those two games, if they're just blowouts, I might not do a show. Or I'll rather probably just do a very brief show early afternoon once the Squid and I have gotten back from our adventures to set you up for a pretty big Wednesday slate. So maybe I'll just do that. We'll just do a quick Tuesday show. I love a good quickie Tuesday. Why the hell not? Also, shout out if you're going to Gather Round over in Adelaide, come say good day. I'll be floating around on Saturday, early Sunday as well. That'll be fun. Go watch some footy. Either way, so we'll catch you tomorrow, I guess, for a quick show. Then, you know, we'll still do the morning videos. We'll try to do it actually before those games happen because there's only the two of them. We might give you a pick for the NCAA Championship Game as well. But either way, follow NBA Straya across Twitter, Facebook, IG, TikTok, and YouTube. Jump in the socials. Send through any yeah-nahs via your old DMs or however you want to. Send them through. I need more yeah-nahs for this week. It's going to be awesome. Get around NFL Australia as well as with myself and Gaz. I actually saw him the other day. Good times. Check us a rating review on your podcast app. Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, whatever you use on your Apple or your Android phones, whatever. Just rate, review, subscribe, star, all that sort of stuff. If you're not going to check us follow me or dabble, do that. Much appreciated. Big thanks always go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song, Though They Rule. So to House Hats, Joshua Delarentas, Fascinated Gold Mines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Section I, Greg Green, and Dozers. They're behind all the tunes you hear, so smash them all on Apple Music, Spotify, etc. NBA Australia supports Australian bands. All right, we'll finish off with a quick Delhi review. Oh, yes. There's some big Delhi news over the weekend. And we will catch you tomorrow briefly, you dickheads. This is NBA Australia saying, look after yourselves, would ya? And little hose out! Oi, 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 how the fuck is it's your old mate Delhi over here, just swinging by for my latest pop culture review. And I'll tell you what, yeah, we got a bit of news from me over the weekend and shit, like, yeah, I'm signing with the Kings, so fucking suck. Not even the Sacramento Kings, they could probably fucking use me right now, I'm just saying, playoff push, etc. Get a proven winner in there. But still, I'm going up to Sydney, like Hoops capital and all that sort of shit, so... yeah, United didn't come to the party about trying to get me on to like bloody LA 28. So the Kings, they're fucking out there putting their money where their mouth is. I'm like, fuck yeah, Harbour City, let's go. Always love Sydney. Fucking great town. So that's got to be sick. Mrs. is stoked. She's all like, fuck yeah, we'll go up to Sydney for a couple of years, have a good old time, a bit of a laugh. A bit further away from Maryborough, but that's all right. You get there on the big jobs. You know, I lived in the States for a million years. So she's all right. Either way, for some actual like pop culture and shit, I hope you're up to date on the White Lotus. No spoilers or nothing, but wow, this fucking season, I don't know about you, but like it's a bit of bullshit a lot of the time. Like it's a lot of fucking setup and a bunch of fucking here we go. We don't know who's been fucking murdered and shit. And it's like a bit of a mystery, whatever. And at some point you just go, fucking, if they don't land this fucking plane and make it a bit of an actual genuine shock, this is a bit of fucking bullshit, isn't it? But still, I've really been enjoying this season after the missus taught me into it, so it probably gets about 24 out of 10 Delhi ones at the moment. Got the big finales and shit coming up, so yeah, looking forward to that. Also looking forward to playing for the Kings, fuck yeah. They'll be like, oh, go Delhi, and I'll be like, fucking sick, mate, yeah, I'm the king of fucking Sydney now, hey, check this out, I'm going to fucking go and win another title. Alright, that's it for me for this week, we'll catch you next time, later fuckos, King Delhi of the bloody Sydney Kings, that's right, Sydney King Delhi, out. G'day legends, your mate Jim from NBA Straya here. That's right, I'm doing a thing at the end of the show. In the business we call it a thing at the end of the show, I guess. I don't know. Either way, all I'm just saying is Just make sure you're rating, reviewing, starring, subscribing across all of the apps that you use for NBA Australia. Jump in the comments, give us a shout. We'll bang you in yeah, nahs. Any other questions? I'll have a crack. I've got nothing better to do, basically. Also, just ask any questions, tell me what you want to hear from the show, and sing out and let us know. And of course, if you want to help support the show, jump on the old dabble, use that code NBA Australia, click on the link that's in the show description or on the socials. It goes up whenever I do the morning vibes, etc. So if that's your thing, jump on there, use that code NBA Australia, and remember, look after yourselves, would you?